section, I'm going to talk about the types and symptoms of bipolar disorder. When most people think of bipolar disorder, they're probably thinking of what is known as bipolar I disorder. But there are actually a few different types of the disorder. These include bipolar I, bipolar II, and cyclothymic disorder. Let's go over each of these types, starting with bipolar I disorder. Bipolar I disorder is characterized by the occurrence of one or more manic episodes. I'll explain what a manic episode is in just a moment. Although most people with bipolar I disorder also have a major depressive episode during the course of their lives, it's not actually a requirement for the diagnosis. So what's a manic episode? A manic episode is defined as a period of abnormal mood during which a person feels extremely happy or extremely irritable and has increased energy most of the day, nearly every day, for at least 1 week. The duration can be less than a week if the person ends up hospitalized. During this period of time, he or she must also experience at least a few of the following symptoms to be diagnosed with the disorder. The first symptom is inflated self-esteem or grandiosity. For example, the person may have a high opinion of himself and may be unrealistic about his or her abilities. The second symptom is a decreased need for sleep. For example, the person may feel rested after only 3 hours of sleeping. The third symptom is that they're more talkative than usual or feel pressured to keep talking. The fourth symptom is what we call flight of ideas or racing thoughts. In other words, the person has too many thoughts at the same time or has rapid speech that jumps from topic to topic. The fifth symptom is distractibility. The person's attention is easily drawn to unimportant or irrelevant things. The sixth symptom is increased goal-directed activities or psychomotor agitation. Increased goal-directed activities can be seen in different areas of life, such as increased activity at work or school, or increased social or sexual activity. Finally, the last symptom is excessive involvement in activities with a high potential for painful consequences. For example, going on shopping sprees, driving recklessly, and having unsafe sex. To qualify as a manic episode, the person must experience at least 3 of the symptoms I just went over. However, if the person's mood is only irritable and not happy, then they have to have 4 of the symptoms I just went over. The mood disturbance and accompanying symptoms must be severe enough to impair social or work functioning, require hospitalization, or they have to include psychotic features. Psychotic features include hallucinations, which are false perceptions such as hearing voices, or delusions, which are false beliefs such as thinking everyone is out to hurt you. The second type of bipolar disorder I want to talk about is bipolar II disorder, which is characterized by the occurrence of at least 1 hypomanic episode and at least 1 major depressive episode. So what is a hypomanic episode? It's like a manic episode, but less severe. A hypomanic episode, like a manic episode, is defined as a period during which a person feels extremely happy or extremely irritable and has increased energy most of the day, nearly every day, for at least 4 consecutive days. Recall that a manic episode requires symptoms to be present for at least 7 days. So the time span we see in a hypomanic episode is shorter than a manic episode. During this period of time, the person must also experience at least 3 of the manic symptoms we just went over. They'll need 4 of those symptoms if the mood is only irritable. In contrast to a manic episode, symptoms of a hypomanic episode must not be severe enough to cause impairment in social or work functioning, or to require hospitalization. Additionally, the individual cannot have any psychotic symptoms. Now let's talk about the other part of bipolar II disorder. Recall that bipolar II disorder is characterized by the occurrence of at least 1 hypomanic episode and at least 1 major depressive episode. So what is a major depressive episode? A depressive episode is defined as a period during which a person feels depressed or loses interest or pleasure in most activities, most of the day, nearly every day, for at least 2 weeks. During this period of time, the person must also experience at least 4 of the symptoms I'm going to review. The first symptom is significant weight loss when not dieting, weight gain, or a decrease or increase in appetite. The next symptom is insomnia or hypersomnia. In other words, the person may have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. They may wake up too early in the morning and not be able to fall back to sleep, or they may sleep too much. Another symptom is psychomotor agitation, or slowing. Examples of psychomotor agitation include being unable to sit still or pacing. Alternatively, people may slow down and have really slowed speech, thinking, and body movements. The next symptom is fatigue or loss of energy. Feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt are another symptom of depression. Depressed people may feel they are worthless or that there is no hope for improving their lives. Feelings of guilt may be present about events that the person wasn't even involved with, such as a catastrophe, a crime, or an illness. The next symptom is a decreased ability to think or concentrate, or indecisiveness, which means difficulty making a decision. The last symptom is recurrent thoughts of death, recurrent suicidal ideation, or thoughts without a specific plan for committing suicide or a suicide attempt. These symptoms must be severe enough to impair social, work, or other areas of functioning. And the last type of bipolar disorder I want to go over is called cyclothymic disorder. Cyclothymic disorder occurs when people have hypomanic and depressive symptoms, but they don't have a full manic, hypomanic, or depressive episode. These symptoms must be present for at least half the time over a 2-year span, and the person cannot be symptom-free for more than 2 months at a time. There are other psychiatric symptoms that people with bipolar disorder may experience. Symptoms of anxiety are very common among people with the disorder. They might complain of bodily aches and pains rather than feelings of sadness. They may also experience psychotic symptoms, including hallucinations and delusions. These psychotic symptoms usually disappear when the symptoms of bipolar disorder have been controlled. Individuals with bipolar disorder are also at great risk for suicide, particularly during a depressive episode. I hope this gives you a good overview of the types and symptoms of bipolar disorder. Join me next time as we talk about how the disorder is diagnosed.